Summary, bills payable, paid, and payable. Attached for your approval is a listing of the critical general operating expenses for the Village of University Park and incurred on February 9, 2018 through February 23rd, 2018. General fund account, $120,799.41. Road and bridge funds, $9,258.75. Capital project fund, $48,219.23. Town center funds, $8,580.30. Motor fuel tax, $22,069.37, totaling $208,927.06. Is there a motion on bills payable?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Brooks, second by trustee McMullen. Questions, concerns, comments? Come on, wait, sorry, trustee.
I really am sorry. I really.
No reason to apologize, trustee. It's your
No,
job.
that's right.
So the grand total is $208,927. But when you look at the bottom of all the check registers, are they supposed to equal each other?
No, because you have
This
some
is paid and payable.
you have some paid that manual checks were done, so they will not show up on your check register report, but it will show up on the secondary invoice approved list by fund report. It will show up on that report. The bills, the check register report, are checks that were printed to be paid. On the other report, it will show everything that was paid out, and it should have that total on that report.
Okay, so it's saying total is 208, but it's printed, everything that says printed is a total of, on one page is 29,000, that says printed checks, and then on the next, then there's another one, it starts something different, page 1, check register. All those are printed, and it says that total is 258,000, so 258,000 plus the first page is 29,000. We're only paying 208,000, and that's just printed. So what are we not going to pay off the printed list? Because we got 258 plus 29, which is way more than 208.
258 or 4885.
Even if we just do 258, that's more than the total we're voting to pay out. So what's not going to get paid? Because 208 is what we're agreeing to pay when the list says we should be paying. The list says 258, and that's just printed. That's not even included what's been paid already. 258 on one page, and then 29,587 on another page.
And I can't wait till we go this year.
Ooh, we gotta change your account system, because this.
And while you're looking, it says, okay, we have paid, some are paid and some are payable. So meaning that, okay, void checks. Why are void checks? Including void checks. Why do
So that's what maybe your issue is, voided checks.
Right.
So voided checks were voided because there were bills payable that was done in the past, or and then the village did not make those payments. So instead of extending and holding on checks, we'll
Once it's in the vault?
Yeah, we don't hold checks in the vault. So
No more, thank you, God.
Yeah.
So those checks that were held in the vault, that was a part of the total, I'm sure that's what trustee Wilson is alluding
So
to.
there's some voided checks there, trustee.
Right, of $29,587.38 were voided. So those checks have been stale checks sitting somewhere, and they
What
weren't
page are you
paid.
looking at, Mayor?
I'm sorry, you know how this
Page
is.
1 is 29,000.
Page 1, a very first page on the back.
This report.
Yes. On the bills payable here, and it's on the back. That's why we gotta get the digital. This is too much paper driving me nuts. Can't keep up.
These are not voided checks, Mayor.
It says here voided checks,
These are printed.
excluding void checks.
So those 6
void
checks are coming out of the payroll fund. So that's money that came out of payroll deductions or payroll processing fees.
Okay, the 29,000.
Yes.
Okay, right, but it says void here. Okay, so excluding void checks. That's what I wrote. What I said. I didn't mean to say that. Okay, so the other ones are the actual checks on the back of this other one. totals here. Right, on this other piece. This is the 208,000. The other ones. Right. It's 258 here on this, that's what I mean, on this one here. It's total of $258,848.85. Okay? On the printed page of the checks. Right here, hello?
I'm here.
Right there.
Yes,
200.
I see that.
Okay.
And it seems to be a discrepancy on the front sheet.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't match here, 208,927.
Just for the 5 funds though,
So these,
208,000.
So that's like $50,000, less than $50,000 difference. So what's going on? Iris, do you guys have anything with this? Yes? No? Okay. That's Ms. Finance. See, right here? That's one thing here. This is a different one, then on the back total. Okay, we're doing.
I'd like to move the table, bills payable until we get it cleared up, and then if we need to, call a special meeting to pay the bills.
Okay. Is there a second? Second by trustee Brown. Roll call. Any others? Okay. Okay. Roll call. Trustee Williams. Roll call. Trustee Wilson. Aye. Trustee Cook. Votes aye. Trustee McMullen. Aye. Trustee Page.
Aye.
Trustee Brown. Aye. Mayor Charles. Votes aye. Okay, F2O, resolution authorizing the consultant contract on study for the proposed TIF. To let you know, this is something, a developer that the village does not have to pay for. Am I correct, Chief Pate? The consultant that's concerned about, this is something positive for the village of University Park. We're talking about development here. And they would like to do the development knowing that we don't have the funds to really do the study for it. They're volunteered to pay for the study. So, just to let you know. This is modified. Okay, thank you. Resolution authorizing the consulting contract of study for the TIF. First, second, and third reading. An ordinance of the village of University Park, Cook Counties, Illinois, providing a feasible study and a report with respect to the designation of a certain area as tax increment finance and development project area. And I explained that. So, is there a motion?
Do we have documentation on that?
But, yeah, yes. And we talked about it too, and this is the developers that are developing, pardon me? Yeah, we did the workshop. The one Saturday, it was raining really bad. This is all workshop, and they volunteered at that point to pay for the developer. They were very kind with that.
$30,000, he said.
Yes. Okay?
So move.
Yes.
Second, I have a question.
Yes, sir. Second by moved by trustee Milton Payne, second by trustee Oscar Brown. Question, Oscar?
Yeah, it's just a couple of questions in regards to the agreement. First, if we decide to go to phase 2 and we're not happy with this, the tax increment, I'm not sure what you call them, consultants, can we go to another consultant, or is it under control of Venture One?
This is, This is to approve a feasibility study and report with respect to that, it would be the proposed TIF 7.
Right, and for a new tip.
Right, and then in the consulting services, here is to approve the proposal to put together that feasibility study.
Right,
Well, whether or not these go forward with the redevelopment project area.
right, so
Correct.
right now, we're just paying for phase one of the agreement. I think that's what this covers.
The proposal to put together a feasibility study.
Yeah, that's phase one. So we're unhappy with this consultant when we go to phase two and phase three of the TIP redevelopment agreement. Is it possible for us to switch, or is it always gonna be under what our venture one says we have to do in regards to the consultants, TIP consultants?
Well, the agreement, or the proposal, or the agreement would be between the village and the consultant.
Okay,
There's a second agreement that would be entered into, and this goes under the resolution portion, but there's a second agreement
right,
to be entered into between Venture One and the village.
okay.
And that agreement is where it states that they're going to pay for that feasibility
I
study.
want to say, I got that part of it. I'm
Right.
asking about after we finish phase one, because the consultants, the way at least when I read it over, and I was also saying I did it kind of quick, when I read it over, it read like the consultants or the TIP consultants only going to be responsible for phase one. Then after that, there's phase two and phase three. Because their proposal only covers phase one, because I think it's about 18,000, 20,000, I can't remember the exact amount. But it looked like it only covered phase one. My question is, will we have the option to switch if we're unhappy with this consultant? But who has control? Or like the person has control, like we're paying, so we're gonna pick these people? I mean, how does this gonna work?
Right, the agreement is between Ellers and the village.
Right.
Right, and it's for phase one, the initial deposit, there's an initial deposit, and then there's beyond the scope, but it's for the phase one feasibility analysis, phase one.
If it's not feasible, then there's no project.
Right,
That's also
Right.
true.
Right, then you don't go forward.
right. So, thank God we don't have to pay for the study and waste our money, and they're gonna pay for the study, get it done if we agree, fine, not, we haven't lost anything.
And if it is feasible, then it's up to us how we proceed.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right.
Okay, you're okay? All right.
Any others? Good question. Any others? Hearing none? Roll call. Trustee Williams. Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Brooks.
Both sides.
Trustee McMillan.
Resounding aye.
Trustee Payton.
Aye.
Trustee Brown.
Aye.
Mayor Cummings. Both sides, thank you very much.
Madam Mayor, that's ordinance O 2018-09.
09. Thank you.
I'm sorry, who made the motion in the second?
I second.
Mr. Payton, Trustee Payton and Milt made the motion, and Payton, second.
We didn't have a
Trustee Oscar Brown. F2P, resolution of the village, which is the last one. Resolution of the Village University Park, Cook County, Illinois, authorizing execution of tax increment financing consulting service agreement with the Elders and Associate and a payment agreement with the Venture One Real Estate LLC. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Payton, second.
Second.
Second by Trustee Oscar Brown. Questions, concerns, comments? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Williams. Trustee Wilson.
Abstain.
Trustee Brooks.
Both sides.
Trustee McMillan.
Votes aye.
Trustee Payton.
Aye.
Trustee Brown.
Aye.
And Mayor Cummings.
Aye.
Madam Mayor, that's resolution on 2018-08.
Thank you very much. Okay, at this time, we have a report from the board, our trustees' departments. Well, once, or twice, no reports, the work for 2 weeks, you'll have nothing to say? You guys don't have to say, Mr. Richardson, you've been working like, everything. So, nothing? Okay. Nobody? No reports, okay? On this side? Okay, which one?
Madam Mayor, members of the Board of Trustees, Treasurer Dilworth, I wrote to you and apologized for my behavior on the 13th of February. Also apologize to the members of your community. Even though I disagreed with what was said, Mr. Dilworth certainly had a right to say it, and my behavior was just inappropriate. And so for that, I apologize. With respect to our work, we are moving rapidly to a conclusion with respect to finances in the village. We had a conference call with the auditors and discussed that progress, gave them documentation showing them where we're at. We're moving forward while working around a few missing bank statements and some supporting documents. Although today we received a disc with old plank bank statements and that gave us some of the information that we've needed. We have began posting journal entries and completed cash reconciliation on a number of the funds for 2016. For TIFs 3, 4, and 5, the bank reconciliations have been completed with the exception of 2 transactions that occurred on the same dates in each TIF. On 4/11/16 and 4/19/16, 2 transactions occurred in each TIF bank account for which there is no backup or explanation for the expenditures. In addition, TIF 1 and 2 had 1 expenditure occur on 4/11/16 for which there is no supporting documentation, nor were they recorded to the general ledger. Further, the bank statements do not specify the designation. We've given that information to the village and asked them to contact the banks to trace those expenditures. And I do have a list here that I'll leave with the mayor. With regard to the forensic audit, it's just about complete. We have verified all the TIF wire transfers, including their final destination to other accounts or to approved developers, with the exception of the 6 items that I just referred to. We also summarized which transfers received board approval and listed the transfers that occurred without evidence of approval. For each TIF, we determined expenditures that were valid TIF expenditures and enumerated those expenditures that occurred for non-TIF transactions. For the non-TIF expenditures, we're examining the general fund account to determine the specifics of each transaction. During this process, we have identified transactions in the bank statement that are not recorded in the general ledger or on your check registers. We also noted approval signatures that did not appear to be authentic when compared to the signature cards from the bank. A final package is being developed for the forensic audit, and we should be presenting the draft to the village on March 6th, March 6th. Are there any questions?
And you said you'll be presenting it to the March 6th?
Right.
Okay, so I hope that we can get that first hand and we discuss it before it's publicized.
All right, we don't turn over anything to anybody but the village manager.
Because I don't want misinformation put out there.
No, we won't.
Like it's happening right now.
We won't do that. We turn it over to the village managers, up to the village to make that public or.
And I'm very, very happy because I was quoted in the newspaper in 2010 requesting a forensic audit. And I'm finally happy that it's being done. I'm really, really happy about the work that you're doing, how it's being done. Because we hadn't had an audit since 2008. How it exists, I don't know how we existed. But that was okay. I wish we had so many people interested then as they are now. But thank you. Never better late than never. Okay? Okay, your turn. He's finished. Yes.
All right, thank you, Mayor Covington, Board of Trustee members, residents. I do have something to say about now, trust me, it's not about our age, so everybody can wipe the sweat off their face, okay? All right, it's about that training budget, the increase in the training. I know a lot of people are, actually, a lot of the trustees are very happy about the increase in their training budget, including the clerk as well too. But we have to remember that the last fiscal year ending balance, we don't know, what that is. So it's very hard to actually know, what the fund balance, that particular, the actual last budget report, the ending balance of it, what that last ending balance was, to actually attach on to the actual beginning balance of the new budget report. So we don't know that. So us spending money, and I know that, everybody is very, happy about the spending of, the new training dollars, but we don't know where we at as far as, those, that our new budget, because we don't know what the ending balance is. So I just want us to be careful about, our spending, because our current budget report isn't an accurate budget report, because we don't have an ending balance. Within our, we have not reconciled, those dollars. So I just want us to actually be careful about that. That's all I have to say.
Appreciate it. And we all know that the budget is a working document.
It is.
It's a working document, so it can be adjusted at any time. Adjustable, people can work on it constantly. Trustee Wilson.
I'm glad you brought that up. You're right. Donna Dilworth brought this up when we did the budget, that we were creating a budget in November, and we were already halfway through the budget spending. So would it be useful for the finance committee, or at that quarterly meeting with the finance committee and the board, to update the budget and where we are to date with what we spent compared to the budget, so we can see if we're balancing or if we're spending more than we're budgeted, and then we would know if, for instance, I haven't gone to training, then I won't use that training dollars because I know we're short. So some people will take the training because they don't know we're short, or we will be short at the end of the year.
Well,
Right.
we won't know that, and the reason why is because that we are not,
But can't,
we're not current postings as of right now. Postings to the general ledger.
so in November, we updated and showed what we spent compared to the budget. And I remember because I asked, because Donna asked me to. Right, so can we do this like quarterly to show where we are with spending?
That's what we said, we'll have a meeting with the finance
So,
and the board.
No, we said that, but we just said we were going to review the budget. And I'm just
that
asking.
can be a part of the goal to review the budget, but I will tell you, by the time we get to the quarter two, with the joint meeting of finance committee, we'll be rolling into another budget year. So it would be better for us to review the new budget based on previous year's numbers, not the current budget year that we're in right now. We need to be moving forward.
Right.
And then we're moving forward, we still have to properly display the actuals that was spent the previous budget year for the
Correct.
new budget. So are you speaking of the budget that we just amended today for the second time to review, or are you talking about the new budget coming on May 1st?
So when we review the new budget coming May 1st, last year, that budget didn't show what we actually spent.
Right.
When we did it. So
which
this
right do you
year-
do that?
Okay. And do we have to wait till the end of the year when we do the new budget?
No, actually, we're in course to start budget, talks with the department heads, and it's going to be part of my report. No, the budget will not be next year's budget will not be extended to December for approval. It's my hopes that we have the budget approved either the last meeting in April or very shortly, the first meeting that the board can take action in May.
Right, so what I'm saying is to keep track, so we have checkbooks. We all have our personal checkbooks. We know I get paid a certain amount of money every year. I start in January writing checks. I get automatic deposits. I don't wait till December or November to balance my check.
So as I said in the finance committee meeting, and I'll say this.
Okay, because everybody wasn't at the finance.
Correct. And I encourage all our trustees, if you can show up to the finance committee meeting, please do so, because you do got to get a thorough report on our finances there. It's understood. So I will say this, until reconciliations are completed and all the proper transactions are done within fund balance, the board, nor myself, nor the finance department will never have a true number of what was spent and what's going out. We monitor spending, we see what money's coming out and going in, but IRH is currently working on updating the fund balance system and conducting bank reconciliation. So when we do get to this budget year, you'll get actuals, you'll get a true budget, what was spent, what we actually went over budget, etc. The village has been operating at least the last 3 years without a true budget nor true actuals within the budget. So understand, trustee, we are working diligently.
We were told that.
And I'm going backwards. I have to go backwards. So we're going backwards 2 budget years to do inputs of funds that have been expended, and we're coming forward. So it's my hopes coming up to the next budget year that we get this done, because we're required to get it done because the audit is going to be completed and the audit firm requires that to be completed. So that's our goal. Trustee Wilson? Trustee Wilson, so answer any question.
So, no, it wasn't an answer really, but that's okay. I'll come to the next finance committee.
Okay.
So I have a question, Mr. Rogers. When you had tried to give an audit budget, you said you wanted to present something, but it was rejected. You said that no, at that point.
Oh, that was the first budget that John Daly worked on
Uh-huh.
for the village. And when we, the day that we brought the document here to the board, we were told no, that they, I guess, whatever dollars were available, they were going to use, and it was.
You said the board, you didn't bring that to the board. Who rejected it?
It was Manager Townsend.
Okay, let's make that clear.
Yeah, she told us, forget about it, that they get so much money and that's what was going to be spent.
Interesting, okay.
So, I mean, that, yeah, because that's the budget John Daly worked on with all of the department heads for that year. I think it was pretty.
The current one, the president,
No, that was the year before.
he's working on it. And he was working on it, and she said no, so we didn't see a real budget that you really wanted to present to us. Correct? Okay,
Right.
thank you for the record. Okay. All right, who else? Do you have anything to say, Manager? Are we finished? Madam Mayor? Oh, I'm sorry, please. You give me a report?
So we're going into the swing of budget time. I'm going to ask now, instead of last minute, if any board members have any recommended budgetary cuts, if they can please send me an email based on their analysis of the current year's budget and provide proposed budgetary cuts that they see in the budget. I will already tell you now that we are working on a project where I'm going to start closing out departments and consolidating them within the office of the village manager and making some other structural changes that will assist us in reducing capital expenditures within the village and create a little bit more efficiency as far as the use of departments. I spoke a little bit about this at the finance committee meeting, and it went out like wildfire. So, prior to, and the thing is, the proper way really to do these things is to bring it before the finance committee and have discussion, get their input prior to bringing it to the board, because when I bring it to you, I want you all to have a finished product. It seems the way things go on around here, I kind of have to work in reverse, because if I work with the finance committee, information will get out before I provide it to the board, so it seems like we might have to do simultaneous communication with the board and the finance committee around the same time. I release information so the board members are not caught by surprise. So that's what I'll be doing. And I'll just leave it at that. Again, I ask board members to please provide their recommendations to me. I will look at the budget and see if they're feasible. If they're not feasible, we'll discuss that individually with each trustee so we can go over the budget in a manner that is structured and correct. As far as the joint meetings with the finance committee and the board, I highly recommend those. I expressed to the finance committee that the department heads will be doing budget presentations before the finance committee, as well as budget presentations before the board. I think that's very important to open up the line of communications to, number one, the board can understand the priorities of each department, what they're doing, as well as the board can ask questions to the various department heads about the operations of their departments and creating efficiencies in regards to the things they do every day for the village. It's one thing to see numbers on paper, it's another thing to actually see those things work out and actually done on a daily basis. And I think that's very important for the board to see prior to making any recommendations and changes to various departments. In saying that, I ask the board to please be patient. This is a huge undergoing, and I would say the reason this is a huge undergoing, we've went multiple years with putting together, in my opinion, cookie-cutter budgets that show really no symbolism of any factual numbers or even factual displays of information. And for me to go back and look at those budgets and kind of apply them in real time is difficult, but we're doing it. And we're going to be starting that process quite shortly. The audit firm that you guys selected today will be looking at our fund balance system and providing system recommendations to go to a new accounting system. They will also be working with us to look at a new budget format that's more friendly to the eyes, to the lay person, the non-finance person, and some board members based on the questions that are asked at these meetings. I want to make sure everything is clear and outlined in a very simplistic manner that it kind of knocks down the level of confusion for everybody involved, and I think that's very important. I will tell you, I've had 2 large staff meetings since this year. I've met with the staff. They brought up a lot of subjects that I have taken to heart, that I will be assisting them in addressing with both issues with interactions with the public and as well as interactions with members of the board and various other outside entities, so we kind of bridge the gap of communication in a manner that's efficient and effective for the village period. And I think that's very, very important. I'm going to touch on this 90 Town Center thing really quick, and I'm going to make a statement. I'm not opposed to anybody meeting at 90 Town Center. What I'm opposed to is when we all come together and we all meet, and it creates an atmosphere where my staff is getting attacked because they're booking spaces for various events